Rocco, what's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Excited to talk to
I think we broke a rule. I think when we play that theme song, we're supposed to have Jenny on, but
you.
whatever. We're just gonna roll with it, right?
Yeah, somewhere she felt that it was being played without her being part of it, and like her spidey sense tingled a little bit. But that's too bad.
Her antennas definitely went up and said, but I think it's like freak out driving season, so I'm not sure if she's available to do previews. So,
That's true. Plus, I've heard her saying pejorative things about Asuka, so she doesn't know what she's talking about anyway. So
well, I was gonna say, well, in memory of Jenny in Charlotte Flair, do you have anything nice to say? But apparently not. So we'll move on. We'll move on from that. We're here to preview Charlotte Flair versus Asuka versus your WWE Women's Champion Iyo Sky in a triple threat match. All right, let's go down this road. Let's start with Charlotte. Charlotte Flair has just kind of been thrown into feuds here. And do you know, actually, fuck it, over under 15 triple threat matches in Charlotte Flair's career? What do you got? Over under.
wow, interesting. I mean, I would say under because that sounds crazy, but I'm assuming you're going to tell me over.
This is her 18th, including NXT. That's
So this is
wild.
just so this is just a person that gets inserted into pre-existing feuds
Yep. She's
just
the
to
queen. She's the
spice it
queen
up
bee, bro.
and okay. I mean, she's kind of like the modern day Big Show, right? She just kind of changes whenever they need her. They stick her in matches to make a triple threat, except for Big Show's the guy to lose the match, and she's the one to win the match. So
I've always said that she's the female John Cena. You get John Cena above my head here looking at us. I feel like Charlotte is just that 1A. She's the measuring stick. She doesn't really need a reason to be inserted into things. She's just that bitch, bro. That's what she is. Like her or love her, like Cena, but you kind of always have to respect her in a way. She's very cadence driven like Cena, but she can be effective like Cena. She's pretty corny at times like Cena, but overall she's popular. She's just the female John Cena.
I don't think she's the ring general that John Cena would be. She gets lost more often than a John Cena would ever get lost in a match. So I think a lot of her, like, if you really look, like, her shining moments are generally usually. She's not the Ric Flair of bringing a broomstick to a 4-star match. I don't think. I think
Mhm.
she's very good at what she does. Physically, she's such a presence. Now that you have a Rhea Ripley, though, that's like a kind of physical presence versus she Rhea's like the new version of her, but I don't know. Sometimes Charlotte is a little. I'm not as sold on her as some people are sometimes in terms of. I don't know. There's just something that's not John Cena enough for me to have that comp be the right comp.
It's not perfect, but I feel like she is stature-wise
Yeah,
mainly
absolutely, absolutely.
mainly the modern day female John Cena.
You ain't wrong.
Overall, I'm sensing a not so keen vibe on Charlotte. Just give me a quick synopsis. Where you at on her?
I mean, just in for at least for this feud, I feel like this is a feud that people were really excited for, the Asuka Iyo, and how they got there we could discuss, which is interesting. But they had their match for on that SmackDown that was super awesome.
Really
People
good.
really dug it, but it's still a SmackDown match, right? Like I think if they had just let this feud be something cool and just given them like a 20-minute opening slot to just fucking kill it, like everyone's wanted them to do, they've never had a single match until that match in their fucking careers together, which is wild to think that I mean, they weren't always in the same. Asuka was never in Stardom, and Iyo was, but it's just two people that people I think have really wanted to see in the ring together. They showed they had the chemistry. Just a 20-minute pay-per-view banger, I think, would have been just a lot cooler than inserting Charlotte in there, especially when you got like a John Cena and you got a lot of hype for this pay-per-view anyway. You don't really need to throw Charlotte in there for no kind of reason. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it just feels like heartbeat less with Charlotte. You could have really dug your teeth into, but they can go back down that road, Rocco, between Asuka and Io. Perhaps they're doing this on purpose to add Charlotte in here to prolong things. They're kind of thin up top on that SmackDown women's roster by fault, really. So, especially with Belair being out. So it's very similar to the SummerSlam match where they kind of just insert Charlotte and
Yeah,
prolong things. And they had the really good match at Backlash. Let's insert Charlotte to add some flavor to it. And the recipe usually works. Perhaps it was a little bit of a miss. Charlotte just felt like a heartbeat off, maybe a little rust, so to speak. But I know she's working house shows where she wasn't working that many house shows leading up to SummerSlam. She's been on the road, so that rust is hopefully off. Her personal life seems to be kind of maybe in the way a little bit, but maybe she's kind of dusted a few things off and she's just really found a groove back in her career from an in-ring aspect. We'll see. It's a pretty good test. These are these are three of the top women in ring in the company. Sh- sh- should be a pretty good match, but you also thought the SummerSlam one would be pretty good, and it really had really good moments with kind of how do I put this? Like unexpected like missteps, unexpected timing being off. Just it just didn't really have a rhythm. It was at a weird part of the show. I think this match would benefit from being early.
Yeah, and I think it's Charlotte suffers from the rust, the ring rust, even promo rust too, because she gets lost in her words a lot too.
Mhm.
But if you're not doing it all the time, a guy like Cena comes back, and I don't say he's like fucking he was 5 years ago, but Charlotte does have those little like brain farts in matches that kind of like interfere with stuff that just kind of takes me out of it sometimes. And I think what you're saying, it's like when you just kind of pop in and get inserted in, you don't really have time to get your footing in terms of your like
Yeah.
doing your promos and in your matches. And I guess once again though, like with this kind of thing, a promo battle with them is like there's obviously their promo skills are all very different and limited in their own ways. So you could maybe a long feud would just be Charlotte feuding with Bayley, which they didn't even do that. It seems kind of they could have prolonged that, but then what is that leading to? A Bayley Charlotte feud, which it doesn't really seem very likely, and I don't think really people care.
Yeah.
So I mean,
We
if
had a
this is
very
all
heatless match last week on SmackDown between them. Yeah.
yeah, so if this is all just a thing to get to a Bayley Iyo split, you didn't really need Charlotte in there to do that. If this is a thing I mean, once again, Asuka's just a babyface now. She's coming to Charlotte's side. Like that just came out of fucking nowhere.
Presented as a babyface on NXT coming up against it's just
Yeah,
I don't
and
know. Asuka's kind of a mess.
I think it's just Asuka is very hard to boo. She's kind of like the Great Muta. He was when I was a kid, he was terrifying. But once he got so over for being so unique. And I was just saying that because he's Japanese. The mist is cool. The face paint's cool. The music, the outfits are always really cool with Asuka. And she's such a fucking beast in the ring that it's hard to boo her. Like she's really just never, and she can't promo wise. She's not going to make fun of the crowd. She's not really gonna be able to turn a crowd promo wise, So even when her and Kyrie were together, it was maybe the most heat they had as a heel when up until except for that NXT run where she was like businesswoman Asuka, which was awesome. But it's hard to boo her, so it makes sense for her to be a heel. It just came out of nowhere too. Like the storyline, getting to this match was kind of a mess, and
There's
that's
no real
Damage
storyline.
Control's.
This is a lot of presentation of women wrestlers. That's what it is. They're not like some of them are characters, some of them are wrestlers, some of them are thirds in a group. It's just like a presentation instead of an actual free flowing story between these three. Let me just put a bow on Charlotte. I like the idea of the way Triple H present her. Kind of like this is our Babe Ruth, this is our John Cena, this is Charlotte. We're not going to add any sizzle to her character. She's just Charlotte. It's a good idea on paper. I just think that the execution just lacks the sizzle and the spice and the meaningfulness that the presentation should have. So it's just, I kind of agree with your earlier sentiment of not meh, because whenever I see her, I like my respect eyes, like the respect in me comes out and the wanting to see her, and she's probably going to have a very good match. So I understand that, but like the depth of when she's talking, I kind of loses me. That she lacks depth in her presentation of Charlotte. It's just I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, once again, talking like heel face stuff. All three of these people in the match it's tough. They're bouncing all over. But Charlotte's the one where people want to see her, but then when she
Mhm.
comes out, she doesn't. You want to boo her when she's in the ring. That's just when you're the
It's kind of
best and
like
you're
yeah,
like her dad,
it's
like in a lot of ways, right? Like it's like people like him for when he's Ric Flair, and they're like, damn, we know that's impressive. We know the match is going to be good, but like it's like I don't know. Once she starts talking, there's just that's just how some people are, and that's just how some characters in wrestling are just going to be perceived. The Miz could get over for a week or so, but he's always going to be a Miz, even if he's doing good guy shit.
mhm.
The crowd's gonna turn on him. It's just how it is. And you're right about the presentation of the women in general, where it's like the fact that Becky and Trish had a feud over not a title was wild to me. So like it's pretty impressive that there was a
That's
feud
cool, and it
not
ended
about a
with a
title that
banger.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ended great. I need to do more of that. They do it in NXT, right? NXT has
Mhm.
feuds with like there's multiple
It's
women
like
feuds.
multiple, yeah.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like a Gigi Dolan is having a feud. She hasn't really been even featured in months.
Kiana
So
James is throwing her name in the mix. It's just like NXT
yeah,
just does such a better job at this with less hours of TV.
and less
Um,
star power of the people they could be writing these stories, like doing these
well,
stories
yeah,
with. Yeah, so it's tough. It's
it's like the main roster forgets about the character development, and especially in the women's division,
yeah,
where it's just all presentation of kind of lackluster characters, unfortunately. Um,
yeah,
well, yeah, like Charlotte is like when Charlotte comes out, it's like you're driving to McDonald's. And you're like, oh, McDonald's is good. Like I can't wait to eat this. And then when you have it, you're like, oh, this isn't that good. And then your stomach starts feeling like shit. And then it's just like, eh. But once in a while, it's awesome. You know what I mean?
yeah. And then it
So
goes away for a bit, and you get drunk one night. You go and you drive home 6 months later, and it's there again. You go, yeah, okay, this is gonna be good again. And you get the
yeah,
same feeling. Yeah,
yeah. But I overall I like and respect Charlotte. I just I think lately Becky's just been showing more of more more uh more pizzazz, more meaningfulness, more oomph. You know what I mean? More of a strive. I think Becky's just showing more worth than Charlotte in a way.
yeah, and yeah, agreed. And Charlotte, they're gonna give her the time in a match. They're gonna give cool spots. It's gonna have
Yeah.
highlights. But like for a Becky, that match is going to be a match. And with Charlotte, sometimes you're gonna get the big moments because she's Charlotte. You're
Mhm.
not always gonna have the as much cohesiveness in the storytelling of the match itself.
Okay. I put on Charlotte. You hit on Asuka. Let's talk Iyo Sky and damage control. Um, Charlotte perhaps was presented here to add a wedge into Bailey, get into Bailey's head. Bailey head's a little screwed up because of the Shotzi feud. Shotzi's kind of really poked at Bailey's vulnerability. When Bailey's vulnerable, she's very mean girlish, let's so to speak, which is kind of a character flaw of Bailey and why she's kind of stuck where she's at. So putting all that together, Charlotte poking her with a stick, saying, "Oh, since when have you become a second? I thought you were the leader of this group. You're a second fiddle to Iyo Sky now." And then Iyo Sky, this match was accepted by Bailey. So Bailey and Iyo starting to show a little tension here after showing you know camaraderie in winning this, and damage control won the belt. We pick each other up. We're damage control. We're here to clean things up and make the women's division about us. But there's little fractures in that, and Bailey's insecurity starting to come out here, which is kind of, especially since she's turned heel in 2019, the depth of her heel character is her insecurity, really. So that's starting to show a little ass here as Iyo Sky is gaining length in her title reign. So perhaps I don't see Asuka winning the belt again, but could we see Bailey turning on Iyo Sky and Charlotte Flair becoming the new women's champion here? What are your teas?
I don't I don't really like that. I don't know if that means it won't happen. I think an Asuka kind of it was inserted in there to take the fall on this.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's what it is for
Yeah.
either girl.
Yeah, and I think it should stay. I think it'll be EO. I hopefully they'll just turn her face. Like I think the Bailey thing should have been to me that EO's getting super popular with the fans, and why is that? And like you could have EO be kind of this person that's getting cheered by the fans, but she's still in the heel faction kind of thing. I mean, that's a story that's been done in wrestling many times. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it again. Where EO's getting popular after that Puerto Rico match, like it's like the it felt like it was
They
ready.
fucking crushed that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so ready and primed, and she's such a dynamic performer, and she was it was just a perfect time for her to get being cheered, and Bailey could be manipulating things like you're saying, and like the pieces are there, but I just don't think they're telling the story that it optimizes any of these people in the match properly, and I think that's what Bailey should have been doing the whole time. It's just like mad that this person's getting opportunities, getting over with the crowd, where Bailey used to be the number one. Everyone loved her, like so
Mhm.
that could have been a thing instead of just her being. And I love her heel character. I just don't love how it's like you're saying before about the flaw, but it really doesn't focus her into prospering.
I just feel that it's very middling, and that's middling of the card. I don't think there's. I do enjoy her in this role. I think she's really good at the character work as this babyface. I mean, excuse me, as this heel. But I just feel that there's a ceiling to it, and I think Iyo Sky has totally kind of surpassed her from a quality standpoint, or from a, I don't know. I think that Io due to the barrier of English and everything, doesn't necessarily need Bailey, but at first she did. Introducing her in Damage Control, her finding her footing with Dakota in the tag team, and then just breaking that glass ceiling in that Puerto Rico match has been really strong character development and growth here on the main roster and a great introduction. But she's here, she's arrived. I think unfortunately, like I'm predicting Charlotte to win this match by nefarious reasons, from Iyo Sky perhaps getting turned on by Bailey or distracted by Bailey, and Asuka takes the pin. Because I think if Iyo Sky is the goal for her to be the babyface coming out of this and to feud with Bailey, they may not think that they need the belt for that, but they I think the goal should be for Iyo Sky to be champion or chasing the championship around the start of the new year. Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania. I think that's Triple H's goal, and I think that's a worthy goal, and it should be. I just don't think, and I think this is a nice, safe way to get the belt off of her, do her Bailey business, have her grow from that, evolve from that, and have her start chasing towards the money season.
I can see that, and this is October, November, or well, I mean November's been hot lately, so they haven't been doing their doldrums between SummerSlam and
Not much doldrums
January.
anymore, Rocco. We're kind of in
Yeah,
them now with Payback and Fastlane, but they're decent times.
yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. I just maybe once again, I just don't want to see it. So, but yeah, I mean, with Charlotte, you never know. They just
I know.
they love putting the title
They
on her.
gotta pad the stats with her. Honestly, I'm kind of glad and I'm surprised in the other way that they didn't pad the stats with the cash in like they did with Belair. Belair won the belt for like what 2 minutes or whatever, and then lost it. So I'm surprised they didn't do that with Charlotte just to add to the stats to get her to the 16, 17 time champion.
One thing that does suck is that Io had one of the cooler cash-ins lately. Like her cash-in
Mhm.
was really cool, organic. People were psyched for it, and it was perfect timing for Belair to
Great live.
leave.
Yeah.
Great. Oh yeah, I forgot you were there live. And then I feel like it's gonna go down as a squandered reign, because they really didn't do
I
much
think
with
it's an
her, and
establishment reign. I think it's good for
yeah,
her.
just to get
You
the
know?
title on her, kind of like they did with Liv when Liv won the
Yeah.
Money in the Bank. It's like this chick's a former world champ now, and you know, she's had a I don't know. She did better with her cash in than Damian Priest is doing with his because he's just AJ
Yeah,
Styles is getting his
they're in a weird spot for
AJ
sure.
Styles is getting laid out every week, and Damian Priest is like, don't worry about it. I won't come pin him. But it's neither here nor there for this. But yeah, I mean, dude, it's like two of my favorites and Charlotte, and Charlotte's, her matches are always good. So I'm very excited for
It should
this
be a
match.
great one. I would put. I hope it's on early and it's not lost in the shuffle like it was at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I want this first. Put it on
Ooh,
first. I
that's
think
even just get
hot
right
ass
at it.
crowd.
Almost as I shake my camera, getting excited about it.
Yeah,
All right,
fuck yeah.
Rocco, that is it forever. It was good to do one with you. It's been a while. We'll have to
Hell
get
yeah, man.
Rossi back, do a tier or something, get the band back together.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Anytime.
Awesome, Rocco. We'll catch you on the next one, pal.
Later, dude.